In this tutorial, we're going to discuss two new dashboards that we've added to the default dashboards on your forecast page. So the first one we're going to talk about is the No Forecast dashboard. If you click down here, you're going to see the list of all of your dashboards on your forecast, and there's one of them called No Forecast. So once we click on here, we're going to see this. And what I've done is I've created a filter where status is active and velocity, adjusted velocity is less than 0.01. So we're looking at all active products, meaning they're not archived. These are products that you've marked as active in your account, and the adjusted velocity is below 0.01. Now, why 0.01? 0.01 is the threshold where the system can create a forecast. So let's look at this one, for example. You can see that this has had no sales in the last 6 months. So the adjusted velocity is 0. No matter which one of these green boxes I click on, it's always going to be 0. And you can see here that there is this yellow warning that says calculated velocity is below 0.01. That's per day, sales per day. Our forecast algorithm is unable to predict future sales. Please enter your velocity manually or set a different velocity. So what does that mean? So basically that means in order for us to build an inventory timeline, which is a forecast, and recommend orders and transfers, we actually have to have some kind of sales velocity in here. Otherwise, it's impossible to predict the future. We can't just make up random sales like, hey, go send 1,000 units into Amazon, although we have no idea how many you're selling or when you're going to sell it or anything like that. So we have to have some kind of velocity metric in order to build the inventory timeline. So that's why we built this dashboard. These are problematic, trouble forecasts, hence no forecast. There's data, but there's no forecast. So what do? Well, it says right here, go use a manual velocity or select a different velocity. So what does that mean? I can come in here, and rather than using this historical data, I can say, you know, this product has been not selling for 6 months, but I'm going to go run some big sale or whatever. I'm going to go put in a manual velocity. I think I can sell 5 units per day. Awesome. So I can go and save a manual velocity and apply that to this product. And now it can actually predict if I had inventory at FBA, which I don't. It would say, great, so now we can predict you're going to sell 5 units a day. And based on that, you should transfer inventory here and order inventory here. And it can actually build out your timeline. So I've overridden this zero velocity problem and created my own forecast. Another way to do it is you could also set a manual velocity here, and then you could go ahead and turn on seasonality if you'd like as well. I'm not going to get into all that. Go watch the tutorials on seasonality. You can build manual seasonality or automatic seasonality, and you can check out those tutorials in the next video. Now, so we've solved that problem for this one. And you know, again, we could do that for all of our products. I could even come in here and say, I expect to sell 1 unit per day for anything that has a 0 velocity, save and apply to all filtered results, which would be these 2 or 3 or 50, however many you have in your search results that meet this search criteria. That would be my filtered results. In this case, it's 2 different forecasts. Okay, great. So we've solved that problem. Now we have our system set up correctly. You can see over here the reason why this is not actually recommending anything, giving recommendations for orders is because I have this snoozed, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay, now let's talk about the other problematic forecasts. So once we've fixed all of these, and I'll just go ahead and set a manual velocity for this one real quick as well. And you can see that now that I've got a manual velocity, it can build a forecast. And if I refresh this page, now nothing matches this criteria anymore. So I've essentially fixed those. I'm just going to go deal with them on my regular forecast. The other problematic forecasts are the potentially ones that you've snoozed. So we talked about snoozing. So we actually just created an additional dashboard called Snoozed Forecasts. And what happens is people will sometimes go and snooze orders or transfers. You can come over here and either snooze transfers, snooze orders, or snooze both. And in this case, I've snoozed orders. That's why it says cancel. You can snooze them here. You can also snooze them down here. I can go ahead and snooze this and save it to any grouping of products if I wanted to. Why would anybody do that? Okay, let's say I've got tons of inventory at FBA. Obviously, this one doesn't, but let's just pretend I had like 500 days worth of inventory, and I just want to make sure that the system doesn't tell me to order anything new, even if it matches criteria in my calculation variables. I could snooze orders for a particular period of time. Another example would be this is a seasonal product, and I don't order inventory until X. Let's say I only order this in January, because it's a product that I sell for a very short period of time. So I might snooze orders until a particular date. That's all good. You can snooze them and do that. Or maybe it's a product where I want to snooze transfers. Let's say I'm just trying to sell through the rest of my inventory, and I don't ever want to I have inventory at FBA. I don't want to transfer or order any new inventory and send it into FBA. I'm just liquidating this product, or I'm letting it sell out, and I will never order or transfer inventory again. Then I can snooze. Same thing. I can come down here and I can snooze. Now, the issue with these is sometimes they get lost in the shuffle and people forget about them. So that's why this dashboard, I created this dashboard. And basically we've got 3 different filters. Status is order snoozed, or status is transfer snoozed, or status is both snoozed. So if anything is snoozed, it's going to show up on this forecast dashboard, and you can catch those and unsnooze them and simply by coming here and clicking cancel, or just keep your eye on them, really. So those are those 2 new dashboards. I hope you found that helpful. Again, it's snoozed forecasts and no forecasts.